it was going to be this massive, but it was. It hit hard, it hit fast.
Tonight, extreme weather across the West. Heartbreaking images coming out of New Mexico tonight, where 3 people have been killed in flash flooding. Elsewhere, extreme heat is posing a serious threat.
It is a convection oven. You breathe air, it burns your lungs, your throat, and it bakes you from the inside out.
And good evening, everyone. Welcome to West Coast Wrap. I'm Alex Savage. A mix of weather extremes has first responders all across the West on high alert tonight. And we begin in New Mexico, where 3 people, including a child, have died in flash flooding. 3 others have been hospitalized. Images circulating on social media show the scope of the damage in the small town of Ruidoso. Mobile homes and cars were pushed around by the rushing water. Search and rescue teams are continuing to look for victims tonight. At the peak of yesterday's flooding, a man posted images online of someone he described as a teenager clinging to a tree, waiting to be helped. It's unclear whether that person did get to safety. Authorities say this flood is unlike anything the area has ever experienced.
This is historic water levels that we experienced. The USGS, the United States Geological Survey gauge at Hollywood in the Rio Ruidoso crested at a historical high of 20 feet. Last year during the historic flood, it was over 15 feet. So we're 5 feet over last year.
And the worst of New Mexico storms crossed the southern part of the state late yesterday afternoon. Burn scars from last year's wildfires left this region vulnerable to debris flows. All right, in Arizona, people are being warned tonight to prepare for extreme heat through tomorrow night. This is a live look at the scene in downtown Phoenix, where temperatures climbed to 118 degrees earlier this afternoon. Earlier in the day, work on Sky Harbor Airport's air conditioning system pushed the temperatures inside Terminal A up into the 80s today. You could see they had fans in place. There were some rolling closures at some security checkpoints. That was to give TSA workers a chance to escape the heat. Operations inside the terminal are back to normal tonight. Now, outside of the airport itself, tarmac workers are doing what they can to try to stay safe during these soaring temperatures. As Fox 10's Ashley Rodriguez reports now, those employees say they want more protections.
Right now, it's 115 degrees out here. But if you take a look at my thermometer, the ground is ranging around 162 degrees. And with a forecasted high of 116 or higher, worker unions are blowing the whistle on the substandard and what they say is unsafe conditions at Sky Harbor Airport.
At the recent Phoenix City Council meeting, more than a dozen airport tarmac employees shared what it's like to work long shifts, up to 16 hours with overtime under the summer sun. Workers stood before council complaining they weren't allowed personal water bottles. Their fleet of trucks didn't have working AC, and there was no place to seek shade and protection.
So the heat crisis is real. Dry heat is real. It is a convection oven. You breathe air, it burns your lungs, your throat, and it bakes you from the inside out. No amount of water or hydration drink, which will bring other medical complications, can satisfy the dehydration that you feel.
The city is getting involved. It passed its heat safety ordinance last year, but Sky Harbor uses 1,500 different contractors, subcontractors, and vendors, making it difficult to ensure they're all in compliance. The city is getting involved. It passed its heat safety ordinance last year, but Sky Harbor uses 1,500 different contractors, subcontractors, and vendors, making it difficult to ensure they're all in compliance. Councilwoman Betty Guadardo says she is personally getting involved and bringing this issue back before council in the fall.
I'm going to be taking a tour of the airport again next week just to see what some of these conditions are like. And we're going to make sure that we stay on top of all of these workers that came out and spoke and put light on the conditions that they're working under.
The city says it's opening up an investigation, and it also says that it's created a new position that is made to monitor that these contractors are in compliance with the city's heat safety plan. They also say that if workers feel that they're going to be retaliated against for speaking out, they can call the safety hotline anonymously. At Sky Harbor Airport, Ashley Rodriguez, Fox 10 News.
Temperatures are also climbing in Southern California.
We stay in the house and put air condition.
I'm trying to
Trying to run 15 miles today, so I'm trying to get my miles in early in the morning. Very prepared, drink lots of water, at least a gallon a day. You know, wear your sunscreen, wear a hat, drink water, electrolytes.
A lot of people finding ways to try to beat the heat in San Bernardino County, east of Los Angeles. An extreme heat warning is in effect in that area through tomorrow night. First responders also on alert for fire danger.
Besides the upstaffing itself, we're basically starting our days earlier, making sure everything's on the rig at an earlier time frame.
All right, for more, let's bring in KTVU Chief Meteorologist Mark Tamayo, who is tracking the extreme weather across the West, especially that dangerous heat, Mark.
Hi there, Alex. Yeah, you covered a lot with that heat and also those dangerous storms in portions of New Mexico, as you can't see. And we'll talk about that heat coming up in a little bit. But as you can pick out on the satellite and the radar, it's showing you some of the storms over the past couple of days. In fact, you can see as we come in closer to New Mexico, there's some of the radar coverage. I was looking at one observation site reporting about an inch and a half of rainfall in 3 hours in this area, and of course that overwhelms the burn scar areas with the historical fire in this region. So that, of course, leading to the flash flooding. In fact, you can see a flash flood report in that portion of New Mexico, of course, linked up with all those devastating scenes we have been reporting. Now, as far as the heat, this was Phoenix today, showing you some high clouds. 118 degrees, a new record. The old record was 116 set back on this date, 1958. The average high is 107 degrees, so about 10 degrees up above the average. Palm Springs today, 119 degrees. Las Vegas, 110. As we do move the maps up to the north here, portions of Northern California. Redding, as you can't see, 94 degrees. So here we go with that dangerous heat in parts of Arizona, extending into portions of Southern California. This is the extreme heat warning in place for basically today and into your Thursday. As far as the temperatures right now, it's 113 in Phoenix, 107 in Las Vegas. San Francisco, the fog nearby, upper 50s, and Portland, Oregon, temperatures in the mid 70s. This was San Francisco today, at least in the Bay Area. You can see that fog out in the distance, 61 degrees. And then, as you can see out in the Seattle area, high today of 72 with some clouds out there. As far as the forecast model, the Fox forecast model here is showing you, as we put it in motion here, the clouds at least are moving up into the Seattle area for tomorrow. San Francisco, we have some fog in the morning, becoming partly cloudy. And of course, we're talking about maybe some more thunderstorms out toward parts of New Mexico and out toward Colorado. So here's the plan for tomorrow. We have temperatures in the lower 70s for Seattle. Warming up, though, in the Friday forecast. The San Francisco area, you can see temperatures mainly in the 60s, but heating up for the inland spots of the Bay Area, close to 100 degrees for tomorrow and into Friday. Los Angeles, you can see a bunch of 80s. Denver, maybe some thunderstorm chances by Friday. And there we go with that dangerous heat in the Phoenix area. Temperatures could be close to 114 tomorrow. And then not cooling off much, but at least trending in the right direction, as you can see for Friday and to Saturday. Alex.
All right, that is some good news. Okay, Mark, thank you. In parts of Southern California, fears about immigration raids are keeping some churchgoers away. Fox 11's Susan Hirasuna reports that one Catholic diocese says it's lifting the church's Sunday Mass obligation.
I do not have to listen to you.
Last month, anti-immigrant raids near churches in Downey.
This is Downey Memorial Christian Church, and we are not okay with you being on our property.
In San Bernardino, two similar incidents.
In both of these cases, there was not a church employee or somebody there to even really witness what was going on. In both cases, the individuals were on the church property and they were apparently profiled and detained and arrested.
That and scenes like this have sparked fear in parishioners and prompted the Diocese of San Bernardino to issue a first-of-a-kind decree.
This is specifically a dispensation from going to weekly Mass for fear of immigration, and this is the first time that's happened.
Even before the diocese decree, attendance was down 50%. Andrews calls it unfortunate and tragic that churches are no longer protected spaces. That used to be the unwritten rule that went away with the new Trump administration.
I think the way that these enforcements are being carried out right now in the climate of these raids does not reflect a respect for the dignity of the human person. And so that's why as a church we're concerned about it. It's not for political reasons, it's for matters of human dignity.
And that was Fox 11's Susan Hirasuna reporting from Southern California. The Archdiocese says that parishioners can participate in masses broadcast online or on TV when they're offered by the diocese or other reputable Catholic sources. We turn now to Oregon. Some farmers there say much of their cherry crop will not be harvested this year because workers are afraid to travel to the farms. The majority of cherry pickers are from Mexico. Ian Chandler says these skilled workers usually travel to Washington every year for the Bing cherry harvest. This season, though, he's lost about half of his workforce because of fears about being arrested.
We've got regular people out here who are helping us out. They're not criminals, they're not bad people. They're just like you and I. They're just trying to make a living. They're, taking care of their families. And for them to be in this country and in fear, that doesn't feel very good.
And he says he expects to leave about 300 to 400 tons of fruit withering on the trees. He and his wife are now looking for second jobs, trying to make up for those expected losses. Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, after 3 months of surveillance, it will take days to complete a major drug bust in Arizona. Coming up, more on the operation authorities describe as crazy in terms of its sophistication. Plus,
employed in this building, I think we have between 900 to 1,200 associates, just making sure we're anticipating and fulfilling all of our customer orders.
July sales are putting more than just Amazon workers in high gear. We'll lay out why some people believe these deals can help to boost the job market. We're following a developing story tonight in Southern California. That's where a child is dead and several other people are injured after a large tree fell near a summer camp in Calabasas. Authorities have not said whether any of the children at Camp Wildfire or the camp's staff members were involved in that accident. But again, a tree has fallen, killing one child and injuring several other people in Southern California. We will continue working to get more information on that story. We turn now to Phoenix, and the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office says deputies remain at the scene now of one of the largest illegal marijuana grows they've seen in over a decade in that area. As Fox 10's Kenzie Beach tells us, authorities say this warehouse has been operating for years.
This undercover operation revealing hundreds, if not thousands, of different marijuana plants in operation of growth, processing, and selling illegally, something the sheriff's office says has been happening for possibly years.
Disguised behind this rundown business complex, a detailed black market operation, every square inch covered in marijuana.
It's really crazy how sophisticated this marijuana operation was.
3 months of surveillance revealed multi-million-dollar worth of marijuana was illegally grown and processed at each stage, leading to 4 busts across the valley. The sheriff, unable to go into detail at this point, says it's the source of violent crimes.
There's a lot of fighting over the money. People have been murdered over marijuana growth, so it's not just marijuana.
Even using teens to distribute.
Business at this scale, that deals a crippling blow to the sources of supply that are then going out and selling this stuff in schools, shooting up neighborhoods. I'm talking about kids that are 14 years of age that we found with pounds and pounds of marijuana selling on social media in your kids' high schools.
Narcotics detectives were tipped off through a multi-million-dollar UPS account used to ship the product. The operation was carried out here for years, the largest in the valley in the last decade.
It's probably going to take 2 days for the detectives to collect all the evidence and impound it all.
Right now, they're bagging, processing, and collecting every piece of evidence here to hand it over to the Attorney General's office for charges. In Phoenix, Kenzie Beach, Fox 10 News.
First responders are traveling to Idaho to pay their respects to 2 firefighters who were killed in an ambush. Today, members of the Portland Fire and Rescue Team left for Coeur d'Alene. They have a couple dozen current and retired members who will participate in services for Battalion Chiefs John Morrison and Frank Harwood. Morrison's memorial is tomorrow. Harwood's service is Friday. Investigators say an unidentified man set a fire last month and then shot the firefighters to death as they rushed to fight the flames. Search teams found the suspect's body in some nearby woods. A 13-year-old accused of starting a wildfire in Southern California has been arrested. Investigators say the Rancho fire began Monday after the teenager set off fireworks in Orange County. The situation forced temporary evacuations in some parts of Laguna Beach. Crews did put out the flames after about 4 acres of brush burned. The teenager has been released to his parents, and this case has been turned over to the Orange County District Attorney's Office. Investigators say that the teen could face a felony charge of reckless burning of forest land. Firefighters in Washington are continuing to try to contain a fire that broke out in Mason County yesterday. The Toonerville fire near Belfair is between 70 and 100 acres and is 0% contained tonight. There are evacuation orders in place as the flames have threatened a number of homes. Firefighters knocked on doors in this area trying to get people out, and more evacuations could be ordered soon. Firefighters say that high winds have helped this fire spread quickly, but help from the state and Department of Natural Resources has really come in handy.
Oh, it definitely could have been worse. Our crews worked really well together and did a great stop on it last night in partnership with DNR and the other county resources.
Investigators are continuing to look into exactly how that fire started. Well, we are learning more tonight about this week's swarm of earthquakes near Washington's Mount Reineer. Seismologists say the seismic activity has calmed down now. At some points, they were seeing as many as 26 events per hour. It's the largest earthquake swarm at Mount Reineer since 2009. Experts say they believe the swarm was caused by hot fluids running through pre-existing faults, but an eruption is not likely.
Swarms often occur before volcanic eruptions, but not every swarm leads to an eruption. And so there are specific things that we would expect to see this swarm trend into that would indicate that something else was happening under the volcano beyond what our current interpretation is.
And Thelen says swarms like this will likely happen again in the future, though there is no way to predict exactly when. California Governor Gavin Newsom's trip to South Carolina has many political analysts debating whether it's a sign that he will run for president in 2028. Fox's Asher Red is following the governor on this trip.
Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat from California, is making his pitch to historically Republican voters in rural South Carolina. But Newsom isn't the only one who seems to be testing the waters with a possible presidential bid. For many, it feels like the 2024 campaign just ended, but that's not stopping potential candidates from getting an early start on 2028.
I need some coffee.
If Governor Newsom does decide to run for president, an official announcement likely won't come for quite some time. But that didn't stop the California Democrat from bringing his message to voters in rural South Carolina this week.
The question is, how do we not only repair the party brand, but repair this nation, and how do we move from a defensive posture to an inspiring vision? And so that has to also be the project that occurs concurrently as we push back against Trump and Trumpism.
Newsom told people in South Carolina that the country needs less political polarization, and that's something a lot of voters here are thinking about too.
I think the polarization isn't going to end, which is why we need strong Democrats to combat that.
Other Democrats stirring speculation about potential White House runs include Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. He spoke at a Democratic fundraiser in New Hampshire in April. In May, former Transportation Secretary and 2020 Democratic candidate Pete Buttigieg held a town hall in Iowa.
There's also no natural front runners in the Democratic Party. You know, they kind of have a spotty bench.
Some political analysts say the early bird approach could help candidates build name recognition while they test out their pitch to voters.
Some of what's going on, I think, probably too, is political messaging. And, you know, what works and what doesn't work and what resonates with people.
Republicans are also headed to early primary states. Later this summer, Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin will speak at events both in Iowa and here in South Carolina. In Lawrence, South Carolina, Asher Red, Fox News.
Coming up tonight here on West Coast Wrap, this is a good week for bargain hunters. Up next, how July sales may benefit more than just consumers. Also, we'll take you to Colorado to see what's being done to protect you from harmful chemicals.
Extremely persistent in the environment.
And if they're left to stick around in the environment, they do make their way into humans.
Testing is underway in Colorado Springs that could lead to a future without so-called forever chemicals. Researchers are working to figure out a way to clear those chemicals out of contaminated sludge at Peterson Space Force Base. A portion of the base is contaminated largely due to the use of firefighting foam, which contains chemicals that don't degrade naturally in the environment. Other forever chemicals are incorporated into products like nonstick frying pans and water-resistant clothing. The chemicals have been linked to several health problems, including cancer.
Extremely persistent in the environment. And if they're left to stick around in the environment, they do make their way into humans.
And these researchers are currently in an investigation phase of testing. They don't have a timetable for when they will be able to implement actual cleanup. Well, some retailers, including Nordstrom and Amazon, are hoping to win your business this week with Black Friday-like sales. Fox 10's Lindsay Regas visited an Amazon fulfillment center in Arizona, where employees say promotions like these can really boost job creation.
Amazon Prime Day deals have started, which means millions of packages will be shipped out and land on front doorsteps like this one. But how many employees does it take to pack and ship this many orders? We went to Amazon's Tolleson facility to find out.
Amazon Prime Days is something that we always prepare for in excitement just because we have a lot of customer orders.
From organizing to packing to shipping, it's all hands on deck.
This site is very unique. I think we are the only one in Arizona that has drone delivery, grocery, and normal pick, pack, and stow all in one.
Angel Vandegrift is an area manager at Amazon's Tolleson facility.
Employed in this building, I think we have between 900 to 1,200 associates.
What started out as one day for Prime deals has now expanded to 4 shopping days. More orders means more staffing.
We'll kind of plan our labor a week in advance, just making sure we're anticipating and fulfilling all of our customer orders, making sure we have enough associates in the warehouse to also keep everyone safe.
The massive online retailer brought thousands of jobs to the Grand Canyon state.
Amazon has a big footprint here in the valley, 36,000 employees. 30 facilities.
Not only creating jobs, but also giving small businesses a platform to sell their products.
Over 60% of items sold on Amazon actually come from small to mid-sized companies, and we have thousands of these companies here in Arizona.
Amazon Prime Day deals end on July 11th. In Tolleson, Lindsay Regas, Fox 10 News.
And finally tonight, a major milestone for Silicon Valley-based Nvidia. The chip maker is now the world's most valuable company. Nvidia is now the first publicly traded company to surpass $4 trillion in market valuation. It beats Apple's previous record of $3.9 trillion, which was set last December. This, of course, comes as tech companies are racing to be the leaders in the AI revolution. Nvidia's microchips are essential to powering that AI technology, and market experts predict Nvidia could reach $4.8 trillion in valuation within the next year. Just incredible. That does it for West Coast Wrap tonight. We appreciate you watching as always, and a quick reminder before we head out that you can stay up to date on all the big stories we're covering online at our website, westcoastwrap.com. Have a great night.